Today in this video lecture we will discuss the one of the application of a SISO SIP register. SISO SIP register means it is a serial in serial out SIP register. In previous video we have already discussed the working of this kind of a SIP register. So here if you see the logic diagram, we have this logic diagram of a SISO SIP register. Again we have a 4 different flip-flops are there. So it is a 4-bit SISO SIP register. The only thing is that in a SISO SIP register, we apply the data at Xi in serial fashion and we are getting the output data at Q0 in a serial fashion. Here the difference is that whatever the final flip-flop is there or the last flip-flop is there, the output of the last flip-flop is connected to the input of the first flip-flop. Means here we use a kind of a feedback in a SIP register. Now then if you see here that the output of the first flip-flop is connected to the input of the second flip-flop, the output of the second flip-flop is connected to input of the first flip-flop, and the output of the first flip-flop is connected to input of a final flip-flop, and the output of the final flip-flop is connected back to the input of the first flip-flop. Then here if you see the second change in the SISO SIP register is that here whatever the flip-flop we have used, all the flip-flop we have a preset and a clear facility. So normally here that you can see that the preset is also a active low as well as the clear input are also a active low. So in a flip-flop whenever the preset input is 0, then the flip-flop is going to be set. So output of that flip-flop is going to be 1. So that is the function of a preset. And whenever the clear input is 0, then the output of the flip-flop is going to be reset. It means the Q will be 0. And for the normal operation, we have to apply a preset high and a clear high. So that is the normal operation of a flip-flop. Correct? So here if you look at this, that whatever the preset clear input is there, this preset input clear is connected to a clear to the final flip-flop. It is also connected clear to the first flip-flop, second flip-flop, and the same line is connected to the preset of the first flip-flop, that is the E3. So here this common line is very important for setting the data. So initially when we switch on the circuit, then we have to set the bit high level at the first flip-flop, means at a Q3, and the rest of the flip-flop must be in a reset condition. So here when this preset clear input is connected to the ground, here remember initially when it is connected to the ground means the clear input is 0. So this flip-flop output or this flip-flop is going to be a reset. So here this flip-flop is going to be reset. Same way the clear input is given to the flip-flop number 1. So this is also reset, and this clear also is given to the D2. So this flip-flop is going to be a reset. But this low is connected to the preset of the first flip-flop, that you can see here. It is connected to the first flip-flop, means this flip-flop is going to be in a set condition. So here we will write a 1 at this position. So this is the initial stage of a SIP register. Now here you can see that in a finite flip-flop, whatever the output is there, this output is going to be appear here means initially here at this input we have a 0. So here if we write that when we are not applying the input, remember this input preset clear input is the asynchronous input. So when we are not applying the input, or sorry, when we are not applying the clock, my xi is 0, the qd is 1, qc and qb and the qa is in a reset condition. Now what we have to do? We have to remove this ground, and here we have to connect a plus VCC. So this is connected to a plus VCC. So due to this, now we have a normal operation of a flip-flop. Okay. Now we apply a clock pulse. So this clock pulse, that is a negative way, because here you can see all the flip-flop are going to trigger with this negative way. So when we applied a first clock pulse, so first clock pulse with this negative edge, now what will happen? That whatever the input to this first flip-flop is 0. Now it is going to be transferred at the output of this first flip-flop and become a 0. Now input to this flip-flop 2. Here I will write this flip-flop number 3. This is the flip-flop number 2, flip-flop number 1 and the flip-flop number 0. So it will be easily understood. So now input to the flip-flop 2 is 1. At the input of the flip-flop is 0 here. So after applying a negative A, is going to be transferred in the output of the second flip-flop. Now input to the flip-flop number 1 is 0. So the output after the negative A, it is going to be a 0. And here if you see, the input to the flip-flop number 0 is 0. So after the negative A, this is going to be a 0. So here if we see that after applying this negative A, here the QD output is 0, Q2 output is 1, QB output is 0 and the QA output is also 0. Here remember that in a truth table I have made a QD, QC, QB, QA, but you should understand that this is Q3, this is Q2, this is Q1 and this one is Q0. And now here if you see, whatever the 0 is appear at the output of the final flip-flop is now at the input of this. So here this input is going to be a 0. So here we will write that the input is 0. So here now you can see after applying a first negative edge of the clock pulse, this one is transferred from a Q3 to Q2. Now we applied a second negative edge clock pulse. So when this second negative edge clock pulse is applied, then this 0 at the input of the flip-flop number 3 is 0. Now it will be transferred to this output and become a 0. Now input to this second flip-flop. Input to the second flip-flop is 0. Remember. Then now it is transferred to this output 0. Input to this first flip-flop is 1. Because the previous stage is 1. So input to this flip-flop is 1. So after this applying a negative edge, the Q1 will be a 1 and here the input to this flip-flop 0 is 0. So after applying negative edge, this become a 0. So in this way, if we see and remember that this 0 is now appear here. So it is, we write it a 0 here. So after the second negative edge, the xi is 0, and if we see the Q3 is also 0, Q2 is also 0, but the Q1 is high and Q0 is also 0. So here now you can see this one is transferred to a Q1. Okay. Now if you look at this, that this 0 is at the input of a D3. This 0 here, whatever the Q3 is there, it is a input for a D2, and here the 0 is there, this 0 is input for a D1. So here we will write D1. Then this high level at the output of the Q1, that is an input for a D0, so it is a 1 here, and this 0 is the input for this. So now we applied a third negative edge or the third clock pulse. Then if we see that this 0 will be transferred to this output and it become a 0. Now the input to this flip-flop number 2 is 0. Now it will be transferred to this output, become a 0. Input to the D1 is 0. It will be transferred to the output Q1, become a 0. And the input for the final flip-flop, that you can see, that is a 1. And after applying the negative edge, here in the output you will get a 1. Now this one will be again going to appear at the input of the shift register. So here I will write a 1. So after this third negative edge, if we see the xi is going to be 1, xi, that is the input to the shift register, is going to be 1, then the Q3 is 0, Q2 is also 0, Q1 is also 0, and Q0 is going to be 1, means now this one is transferred to Q0. Then if we see the fourth clock pulse. Okay, before that let us see what are the new input to the flip-flop. The input to the flip-flop number 3 is 1. Now input to the flip-flop number 2, and it is going to be 0. This 0 is going to be appear here, so it is going to be 0. The input to this flip-flop number 1 is this 0 is going to be appear here, so it is 0. And the input to this flip-flop number 0, that is the final flip-flop, and that input is going to be 0, so here we will write a 0. Now let us apply another clock pulse, that is the clock pulse number 4. With this negative edge, what will be the content of a shift register? So here if we see this 1, after this negative edge, this 1 will be appear at the output of the Q3, so it is a 1 here. And here the 0 is the input to the flip-flop number 2, it is going to be appear at the Q2. Input to the flip-flop number 1 is 0 and it is going to appear at Q1. The input to the D0 is 0 and then after applying this negative edge, this is also going to be a 0. So after this fourth clock pulse, if we see, now remember that this is whatever the final output is there, that is a 0. This 0 is there. It is going to be appear at the input of xi, the input xi, so we will write 0 here. So here this is xi is going to be 0. If we see the Q3 is high, Q2 is 0, Q1 is also 0 and QA is also 0. Now again if we see one more clock pulse. So actually here you can see that whatever the high level was there initially at the output of the flip-flop D, first flip-flop, then it is transferred to the second flip-flop. Then with the third clock pulse it is transferred to this QB, Q1 and then after that it is going to transfer to a Q0. So, and then with the fourth clock pulse here, the 1 is going to be transferred to the flip-flop number D or Q3 means here whatever the original content was there. What was the original content of the shift register? 1000. Now after the fourth clock pulse it became a 100. So here we require a 4 clock pulse. 4 clock pulse to transfer this data, or here the 1 is going to be moved. That you can see that initially we applied the 1 to the flip-flop number 3, then it is transferred to flip-flop number 2, then transferred to 1 and then transferred to 0 and then again it is coming to the flip-flop number 3, 2, 1. So here whatever the high level is there, this high level is going to be moved in a ring form. Here this one is moving from left to right and then it is moved, then again it is moving to, so here this high level is moving in a kind of a ring, that is, and it is moving or it is going to rotate in a anti-clockwise direction. Anti-clockwise direction is there. Now here if you see, after applying a fifth clock pulse, what will be the position? So when we apply the fifth clock pulse, then you can see that input to this flip-flop is 0, then it will be transferred at the output. Here input to this flip-flop number 2 is 1. Input to the flip-flop number 2 is 1. Remember, input to the flip-flop number 1 is also a 0. Input to this flip-flop is also a 0. Now look at this position, that this 0, this 1 is going to be here. This 1 is going to be appear in the output of Q2, second flip-flop, and then this 0 at the input of the flip-flop number 1 is 0, so it is also going to appear at 0. Input to the last flip-flop is 0, then it is going to be appear at the output become a 0. So at the end of the fifth clock pulse, here this input 0 is there, this 0 is there, that is going to be appear again at this input. So here we have 0. So this will be a 0, this is also a 0 and this will become a 1 and then here it is 0 and 0. So you can see now this one is again transferred to flip-flop number 2. So in this way, that high level or this high 1 is going to be rotated in a anti-clockwise direction, and that's why here it is known as a ring counter. Now let us see the waveform. This waveform we will draw for the Q3, Q2, Q1 and Q0. Initially, here remember, initially the Q3 was high, that you can see that we have set a high level in the QD, QC, QB and QA all are 0. So here the Q3 is high and Q2, Q1 and Q0 they are in 0 position. Now here for our simplicity, first of all we will mark the negative edge of the clock pulses. So this is the first negative edge, second negative edge, third negative edge, fourth negative edge, and we have a fifth negative edge. Now after this, if we see the Q3 is going to be 0, 0, 0 and then 1. So here it is a high level. Now it is going to be 0, 0 and then remain 0 for the first negative edge clock pulse. Here remember that this one is the first negative edge, this one is the second negative edge. Here we have a third, fourth and fifth. So if you write this, then it is very easy to correlate with the truth table. So at the end of the first negative edge, the Q3 is 0, Q3 is 0, here initially it was 1, these are 0, 0, 0. Then what is the position of Q2? Q2 become a high. So here the Q2 is high, Q1 and Q0 they are 0, correct? So here if you see this is 1, 0 and 0. Then at the third negative edge, what is the Q3 is 0, Q2 is 0, Q1 is also 0 and Q0 is 1. So here if we draw this, then this is 0, but the Q1 is high and Q0 is 0. So we write this 0, 0, 1, 0. Now at the third negative edge, here if you see the Q3 is 0, Q2 is 0, Q1 is 0 and the Q0 is 1. Q2 is also 0, Q1 become also 0 and Q0 is going to be high. What is the fourth clock pulse? At fourth negative edge, Q3 become a 1 and Q2, Q1, Q0 are 0. So, and then with the fifth clock pulse, if we see that Q3 is 0, the Q2, that is it become a high, this is 0 and this is also a 0. So if we write this is 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. Here you can see that what were the first high level we have stored in the flip-flop number 3. It is transferred to the flip-flop number 2, then it is transferred to the flip-flop number 1, then it is transferred to this flip-flop number 0. And after that, again, it is transferred to a Q2, Q3, then it is going to transfer to a Q2. So in this way, one high bit is going to be rotated in the shift register. Now what is important thing here? here you can see we have a 4 flip-flops. 4 flip-flops are there. So it is a 4-bit ring counter. So here you require a 4 clock pulses for resetting the counter. So if we have 4-bit ring counter, so this 4-bit ring counter can count the 4 clock pulses. Remember, it means if we have a n-bit ring counter, then it can count the n clock pulses. N-bit ring counter can count n clock pulses, and therefore sometimes it is also known as divide by n counter. So this is nothing but it is known as a divide by n counter. Remember, this is very important. That another important thing, remember that here whatever the final flip-flop is there, if we measure the periodic time, let us say this periodic time of this flip-flop of this clock is a T. Correct? So here we have a 4 T pulses are there. That at this time will be a 4 T. And correspondingly, if we see in the output, then this time period is going to be a T dash. Remember, correct? This is my T dash and this is the clock pulse T. So now what is the relation between these two? That easily you can see that the T dash is equal to a 4T. Means the frequency at the output. Where is the output? Output is here. Here, whatever the frequency is present at the output, that is the frequency f. What is the frequency f present at this point? So here I can write that the f dash is equal to 4 by f. Here, that T dash is equal to a 4T. So what is T dash? In terms of the frequency, if we see 1 upon f dash, and this is a 4 by f, so that f dash, that is equal to, we can write f by 4. What is f dash? F dash is the output frequency of a final frequency at a final flip-flop, and that this f is a clock frequency. So here we can write that the frequency is given by f dash equal to a clock frequency divided by 4. So here we have a 4-bit register, so it is divided by 4. In general sense, if we see, if we have the n-bit register, then the frequency at the output of the final flip-flop will be clock divided by n. So this is another important relation, and that's why here whatever the frequency is present at this point, f dash is given by a clock frequency divided by n, and therefore it is known as a divide by n counter. So ring counter is nothing but it is a divide by n counter. So you have to remember that this ring counter, if we have the 4-bit ring counter, it can count a 4 clock pulses. If we have the n-bit ring counter, it can count the n number of the clock pulses. So it has a n state. Normally in the counter, If we have a 4 flip-flop, then the number of the state will be 2 raised to 4. That will be 16 state will be there. But here it has only a 4 state. Second thing, that whatever the frequency is appear in the output of the flip-flop, it is going to be divided by n. So clock frequency divided by n. So that's why it is known as a divide by n counter. Now we will discuss another application of a SISO flip-flop, and that is called a Johnson counter. This Johnson counter, sometimes it is also known as a twisted ring counter. Basically, this Johnson counter is a modified version of a ring counter. In the ring counter, we know that the output of the final flip-flop is connected back to the input of the first flip-flop. But here, the output of the final flip-flop, that is the complement of this output, is connected to the input of the first flip-flop. Otherwise, here if you see, we have 4 different flip-flops, so this is a 4-bit Johnson counter. 4-bit Johnson counter is there, and if you look at this, the output of this third flip-flop is connected to a second flip-flop. This is my flip-flop number 3. So output of this third flip-flop is connected to input of the second flip-flop. Output of the second flip-flop is connected to input of the first flip-flop, and the output of the first flip-flop is connected to a flip-flop number 0. So this is the flip-flop number 0. And whatever the complement is there, that is a Q0 bar, is connected at the input of the flip-flop number 3. Then the second thing, that whatever the preset inputs are there, preset input of all the flip-flops are there, so commonly it is connected to VCC. And the clear input of these flip-flops are also connected to AVCC. Means we have a common preset input and a common clear input is there. Same way, the clock applied to all the flip-flops is also a common, means we apply a clock parallel to each flip-flop in this manner, and this flip-flop are operating with a negative edge of the clock. Now if we see the operation, then initially we have to reset the register, and for resetting the register, whatever the clear input is there, it has to be connected to the ground. When this is connected to ground, then at this input we have 0, 0, 0, and all the flip-flop is going to be reset. So the output of the flip-flop number 3 will be a 0. This will be 0. The flip-flop number 2 output is 0. The output of the flip-flop number 1 will be also 0, and the Q0 will be also 0. But when the Q0 is 0, so the Q0 bar will be a 1. Remember. And therefore this one is connected at the input, that is the Xi. So my input to the flip-flop number 3 is going to be a 1. So here if we prepare a truth table, then when we are not applying any clock, at that time the Q3 is 0, Q2 is 0, Q1 is 0, Q0 is 0, and due to this Q0 is 0, the Q0 bar will be equal to Xi, so it is going to be a 1. So here this is the asynchronous input. Remember, we have not provided any clock to the flip-flop. So after this, what we have to do, that we have to remove the ground, and the VCC will be connected to this clear input. So here this clear input is going to be a 1. This clear input will be 1, 1, 1, 1. Same way the preset input is also a high. So now here there will be a normal operation of a flip-flop. Now we apply a negative edge of the clock pulse, means we apply the first clock pulse. Then at the negative edge of this first clock pulse, whatever the input to the flip-flop number 3 is there, flip-flop number 3 input is 1, it is transferred to the Q3. Flip-flop number 2 input is 0, it will be transferred to Q2. Same way, the input of the D1 will be transferred to Q1 and the D0 will be transferred to Q0. So here if we see, then the input to the D3 is 1, so this output will be 1. Here this is going to be 0, the Q1 is going to be 0, Q0 is also going to be 0. And the Q0 is 0, so the Q0 bar will remain a high. So here if we write, at the end of the first clock, negative 8, here the Xi is 1 and this Q3 is going to be 1, this is 0, 0 and 0. Now try to understand that this one is present at the final flip-flop and it is going to be appear here. So here at the input of this flip-flop number 3 is 1. Now the input to the flip-flop number 2 is 1. This input at the flip-flop number 1 is 0 and the input to the flip-flop number 0 is 0. Correct? Now we apply the second clock pulse. So at the second negative edge of the clock pulse, here this one is going to be transferred to the Q3 and here we will write 1. Then here at the input of the D2 is 1, so output Q2 will be 1. Input of the D1 is 0, so the Q1 is going to be a 0 and the input D0 is 0, so the Q0 will be 0 and the Q0 bar will remain high and that is going to be appear at the input. So here at the end of the second clock pulse, if we see the Xi is 1, this is a the Q3 is 1, Q2 is 1, Q0 is 0 and the Q1 is also a 0. Now if you see what are the input of the different flip-flop. Now the input to this the second flip-flop, that is a 1. Input to this flip-flop number 1 is 1. Input to this flip-flop number 0 is 0 and 1 is appeared here. So when we apply the third clock pulse, then due to this 1 at the input D3, this output Q3 is also going to be a 1. Now input to this D2 is also a 1, so the Q2 is also going to be a 1. Input to this D1 is 1, so the Q1 is going to be 1 and here the input is 0, so this is going to be a 0. So at the end of the third clock pulse, if we see the Xi is 1 because here the Q0 is 1, so this is remaining high and this high is going to be appear at this point, so it is 1. Then Q3 1, Q2 1, Q1 is also 1 and the Q0 is 0. Now if we see what are the input of the different flip-flop at the end of this, so this one, that is a Q3 is 1, so the D2 input is also going to be 1. This in Q2 is 1, so the D1 is also a 1 and the Q1 is 1, now the D0 is also going to be 1 and this one is appearing here. So at the end of the fourth clock pulse, if we see that this high level this high level is going to be transferred here, and the Q3 become 1. So here we write the Q3 is going to be 1, then the Q2, that D2 input is high, so the Q2 is also going to be 1, then the D1 input is high, so the Q1 will be also a 1, and the D0 input is 1, so this is also going to be a 1. Now here when the Q0 is going to be 1, now this Q0 bar will be a 0, and that is going to be appear. That is going to be appear at the input of the flip-flop number 3, and this input is now going to be a 0. So at the end of the 4th clock pulse, if we see the Q3 is 1, Q2 is 1, Q1 is 1, and Q0 is also a 1. And here if we see the input Xi, so this input Xi is not 1, but here now it is modified, become a 0. So this input is going to be 0. So here if you look at this, that at every negative 8, this one is going to be transferred. This one is transferred here. Then with this second negative 8, one will be transferred to Q2. Third negative 8, it is transferred to Q1, and here it is transferred to Q0. So here if you see, this high bit is going to be transferred from a one SIP register to another SIP register. Now when this fifth clock pulse will be appear. Now see, what are the input of a different flip-flop? The input to this flip-flop number 3 is 0. Now what is the input for the flip-flop number 2? That is a 1. So here it is 1. Flip-flop number 1, that input is also a 1, because here it is 1, so this is 1, and this one is appear here, so the input to the flip-flop 0 is also going to be a 1. So now here if we see that at the end of the fifth negative 8, the input is 0, this one is going to be transferred to Q3, so this become a 0, this is 0. Now this one will be appear at the output of Q2 will be a 1. Then the D1 input transferred to Q1, and it is also going to be 1. This Q1 input is D0 input is 1, and it is transferred to this Q0, and it will be a 1. So here these are the different input after the end of the fifth negative age of the clock pulse. Same way, if we apply the sixth negative age, then this will be 0, 0, 0. Here you have 1, 1. When the seventh negative age is coming, then this is 0, 0, 0, 0 and 1, and 8 negative age will come. Then here remember the Q0 is 1, Q0 is 1, so at this end here this Q3 become a 1, so Q0 is 1, so at this time this input is going to be 1, and here all this output of the flip-flop is going to be 0, 0, 0. So here again if you see, then this one is transferred here, this one is transferred here, the Q3 output is transferred to Q2, Q2 output transferred to Q1, and the Q1 output is transferred to Q0. So in this way that you can see after the 8 clock pulse, your shift register is going to be a reset. So here you can see that we have a n bit ring counter So here you can see that we have a 4-bit register is there. It means that we use the 4 flip-flop and it is going to be count 8 number of the clock pulses. 8 clock pulses are going to be count. So 4-bit register can count the 8 clock pulses. So if we have a n-bit Johnson register, then it will count to n number of the clock pulses. So n-bit counter has 2n different states. In case of the ring counter, if we have a n-bit register, then the number of the states was n. Here we have 2n number of the states. Now let us see the waveform. So what are the waveforms for Q3, Q2, Q1 and Q0? We will write a Q3, Q2, Q1 and the Q0. So all these flip-flops are triggered at the negative edge. So first of all we will mark this negative edge of the clock pulses. So easily we can draw the waveform. Correct? So this is my first negative edge, second one, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh and eighth. So initially all the flip-flops are in a reset condition. So here this output Q3 will be 0. Q3 is 0. Q2 is also 0. Q1 is also 0. And Q0 is also a 0. Now when the first negative edge is coming, at that time Q3 become a high, Q2, Q1, Q0 are 0, 0, 0. So if we draw, then the Q3 is going to be high, it is remain high to a first negative edge, then the Q2 is 0, Q1 is 0, then with the second negative edge, Q3, Q2 both are high, but the Q1 and Q0 are 0, 0. So if we draw this, the Q3 is remain high. Now at the end of the third negative edge, if we see Q3, Q2, Q1 all are high, but the Q0 is 0. So the waveforms will be extended to a third clock pulse. And for the rest of the clock pulse, if we draw, then your complete waveform will be like this. So this is a complete waveform of a Johnson counter, and here you can see that initially all are in reset condition. Then if we have the high level here also 0, 0, 0 is there. This high level transfer to here, this high level transfer here, and this high level is transferred to Q0. Then whatever the high level was here, it is transferred to Q2, then it is transferred to Q1, then it is transferred to Q0. Same way, here if we see, then in this manner, this high level is going to be shifted in the next shift register. And after the end of the 8 clock pulse, your counter is going to be reset. Now if we see what is the frequency at the output of the final flip-flop, and that is the Q0. So here if we measure the periodic time, then this periodic time is, let us say, a T. The periodic time of the clock pulse is T, and the periodic time of this final flip-flop means here if we see, then this is, let us say, a T dash. This is the periodic time is T. Then we can write that T dash is equal to A8T. Remember, T dash is equal to 8T. Or you can say the frequency is 1 upon F dash is equal to 8 by F. It means the F dash is equal to a F by 8. And this is nothing but it is a clock frequency divided by 8. In general sense, if you want to write, then the frequency appear in the final flip-flop is a clock frequency divided by 2 into n. What is n? That is the number of the flip-flop. And here it has a 2n state, and therefore this is also known as a counter with a 2n count pulses, or it is known as a divide by 2n counter. That this Johnson counter is also known as divide by 2n counter. Divide by 2n counter. Because here you can see the frequency is divided by 2n, therefore it is known as divide by 2n counter. Now in the next video session we will discuss another shift register, that is PISO and PIPO.